Hi guys, Ronnie here and welcome to another video. And today we're going to pick up right where we left off at the previous one, where I've stated all the issues and all of the processes that we had to go through to get these Princeton time trial wheels just rolling properly and functioning, and the products that we have to develop in order to achieve that. So if you're interested in this, then I'll link this video along with the product page in the description below. So now let's focus on the other things that I've done to this bike since I've last shown it to you. So here we go. And starting from the front, immediately on the base bar there is a difference. So I've been using the Silicon Astro Aero tape for a few years now, and it's a really great product, but unfortunately for some reason Silca have stopped producing it or selling it, even though it's the exact same material that you get as a shift clamp cover with all of their bar tapes. It's the same stuff, just cut into a different shape. So I don't really understand why that is the case. So anyway, I had to find a replacement or an alternative, and this one seems to be pretty solid. I got it from one of my regular customers, and it's basically an oversized thick shrink wrap. It's sold by Profile Design, and it's quite grippy, quite pleasant, and quite sleek as well. So I installed it for myself, happy with it. It comes in a kind of 40 centimeter length, I think, and you can cut off the piece you want for different locations, but I just use it on the base bar here, as you can see. So that's a tiny little change there. And since I wanted a bit more comfort here on the lever hooks, here I've applied some just plain old shrink wrap rubberized thing, just to keep it from digging into my fingers when I'm holding onto it real tight. Then I also have a new bike computer here, recently. I'm pretty sure you haven't missed that, and it's a bit sweaty. But this is the new Wahoo Element Bolt 3. And the main reason I have decided to go for this is that the screen is a lot brighter, which definitely helps in my time trial position. Because, yeah, I'm covering most of it on my forearms, and it's quite a narrow position, so any screen brightness that helps me read the actual numbers that are on there definitely helps. However, it does perform or is a bit of an improvement over other areas as well, but maybe this is a topic for a different video. As you can see, I have applied a bit of this textile tape just to keep it from rattling in the mount. But let's put that back. And yeah, here are my trusty Spico aero bars, which we have done a lot of testing for to arrive at this shape and this size and dimensions. However, I've noticed that this year a lot of riders started to use these kind of deflectors for the arm pads, which probably act as a gurney flap in the same way as the flaps on the casque aero visor, just to guide air around the rider or to disturb the airflow before it reaches the rider. And actually I have two versions 3D printed by Spico to fit my base bars or my arm cups. Unfortunately, I haven't really had the time to test these or any of these, which means that I'll probably take them off for the event because there's always a risk that it's going to be slower than the original setup, which is very, very good indeed. So I don't want to take any risks there. Also, I have put on some thicker neoprene pads, which now for all Spico bars are laser cut, so a much neater finish than before. And yeah, I had to replace the 1mm stock version with this 4mm version because I was just getting numb forearms from the vibration. As you know, these pads when they're new, they're quite soft and squishy, but you press them down over time and then there's not much give in it. It just flattens to zero basically. So at that point it doesn't really provide much relief. Yeah, the wheels are problematic as always, but we've talked about that in a previous video. So again, I encourage you to have a look if you're interested. However, we do have some more interesting changes in the drivetrain department. So finally, now, I know I've been talking about this a lot, but I finally have the complete speed play upgrade as I imagined. And this is basically the final iteration. So we have a titanium spindle, proper DLC coated to prevent damage and improve wear life, lower friction. Same for the step plate. The bolts are also titanium but haven't been DLC coated because there's no point really, and it's quite an expensive process to do just for the looks. So I skipped that. It's a shorter spindle as well to bring the Q factor down even more. However, it turns out that I brought it in so much that it started seriously limiting my power, so I had to back off. But I didn't put back this standard spindle. Instead, I just pushed the cleats further inboard on my shoes to gain back a few millimeters, and now it's perfect. And there's clever stuff on the inside as well, because we've replaced the standard seals with basically just a spacer that has no sealing property, which means that a lot of friction has been lost, and also both of the bearings are now hybrid ceramic. So as you can see, the friction is really low compared to what you normally get. And this, well, I've been on this for more than a month now, and as I promised, when this passes the testing and I find it sufficiently long-lasting and well working, for lack of a better word, reliable, I was meaning to say, then this will probably go in the web shop as a complete product. So you'll be able to buy this fully tuned up set for yourself. Now mind you, there are a few of these upgrade sets already on the market as far as I'm aware, but all of them just use kind of a cosmetic anodizing to the titanium, and it's not really the PVD diamond-like carbon that we are using in here. So this is proper stuff. This is what you get in your race engines, wrist pin and finger followers and camshafts and stuff like that. So this works. This really does improve the longevity and reduces friction. The other is just cosmetic, like on the chain for example, but more on that in a minute. If you go up for a moment, then you can see that finally I got my Volvo saddleback, and it's been quite a story. I'm not sure I want to bore you with that, but in essence I had to, or didn't have to, but I agreed to ship this over to a customer originally, who then broke his, and Volvo had no replacement at the time, so they asked me if I would be so kind to give him my sample, which was the quickest solution, and I said yes. Now it finally got back along with the pre-ordered saddles that I've had on pre-order for a year and a half, so I'm really happy that I finally cleared out those orders. And initially I wanted to keep the new version of the saddle for myself as well, because there are some improvements on the nose area, so the padding stretches a bit longer on this side, so it's more comfortable for the thighs presumably. But to be honest, I never really had an issue with this one. And secondly, more importantly, I have to say, the new saddle also uses oval carbon rails, which is the norm really. This one is a bit of a freak as it uses carbon rails of course, but they're round, which is not very common. As far as I know, only dash saddles and these few early production models use it. And with ovals, well, in this particular case it's a problem because it's quite a long saddle and my saddle height is quite low, as you can see, even though this is a small bike. The result of that is it's quite hard to fit into the 5 cm UCI limit, which I have to because my reach is rather long. And normally with the stock C-post that wouldn't be an issue whatsoever, because there you have a standard Ritchie clamp on top and you have lots of adjustment. However, that Ritchie clamp also happens to slip, so I've changed it to this Dorema one, which uses a regular 2-cradle design. And as a result, with this particular saddle you have to shove it all the way back just to get on those 5 centimeters, as you can see here. And with the oval rail that's not really possible at all, because the oval rail is a lot thicker here, as you can imagine, so I'm not able to push it far enough back. So I'm really happy to have my old trusty saddle back. It's really damn comfortable. I've tried a few other versions, namely the ISMPN, which is excellent by the way, but it's a lot heavier, a lot uglier, and has no bottle cage mount. And then the Physique 3D printed one, which was okay, but at low intensity it was quite hard for me. I think it's more suited for heavier riders because yeah, the foam is just quite hard. Other customers who are heavier and bigger than me have really liked it, so I guess that's why it is. So anyway, this is my saddle in the training setup, and on it I have a Tri-Rig Kappa behind the saddle cage. This is a really special cage designed specifically to be mounted in this location, and even though it's very strong and has quite a firm hold on the bottle, even if it's a big one, it's very easy to take it out, because as you can see the shaping is specially done so you can just pull it out fairly easily. And as some insurance, I also have this bottle loop, again from WoW, but it's compatible with anything really, and I have some units in my shop as well. It's quite a rare item, so if you just want some extra reassurance for your bottle setups, then you'll find this in the link below. Yeah, and this is a pretty potent setup for training, really handy for a lot of time trial bikes because most of them only have one bottle cage mount. And since now it's really starting to get hot, it's, well, you can't really go out for any reasonable amount of time without 2 bottles at least. If you want more, then there's even a double bottle cage mount for the back with double hooks, so that's a pretty neat solution as well. But anyway, for now this is sufficient. Another thing I've changed, as you can see, are the bolts. Now Dorema supplies some really nice titanium bolts with the seat post, but they kind of suck because they have a regular internal hex key opening, which as you can see is far from accessible. With the saddle you can fiddle around with it from the side, but yeah, it's just really not any good. So I found these pretty neat bolts in the KTM shop next door, and they use a 6mm external hex, which means they're pretty easy to adjust because a 6mm hex spanner is really small, so you can fit in there and you can just tighten it up properly like you should. So as you can see, I don't get any slipping whatsoever, and I'm really happy about that. But those are just tiny details. So now let's have a look at the drivetrain, which I think is the host of the more interesting or most interesting upgrades that I have here for you today. Now, there's been quite a discussion about chains under the, I don't know if it was the last or, well, some of the other videos that I've done about this bike. And I have to say I was a bit skeptical because I'm not a big fan of changing Shimano products to aftermarket replacements, particularly with chains, because I have some bad experiences from the past. And yeah, a lot of you have kindly suggested that I look at the Ceramic Speed's latest tests, just like Stefan did probably, where yeah, you can find that in some cases the KMC chain is quite a bit more efficient than the Shimano 12-speed chain, and basically on par with the Shimano 11-speed chain of old, which was deemed to be the most efficient chain overall. Now, I have to say that I'm not 100% convinced about these test results, because they're not really testing outright time trial efficiency or lubricant efficiency or chain efficiency. It's just the efficiency of chain after X amount of time. I think it was 10 hours of riding, which, well, in my mind that has a lot to do with the wax degradation that you get on a chain, and different chains get different degrees of wax degradation, and particularly Shimano ones with Siltec degrade quite quickly, so maybe that's a part of it. But anyway, I've seen the data, thanks for the suggestions, I've overcome my stubbornness, and I've installed the KMC DLC chain, which is not DLC at all, by the way. Even they admit that it's just cosmetic, which is a shame. If it was actual DLC, then probably it would be a lot faster than anything else. Unfortunately, it's not. So, yes. The KMC chain is on. I've tried it with the regular Shimano cassette. Worked surprisingly well. To be completely honest, I don't think I can notice any difference in shifting performance, which I was really worried about due to, again, past experiences. And then, having done this change, I got a message on Instagram from Evan Wong from, sorry for mispronouncing your name, if I did, about his range of products called Six Wheel and TI Master. And as it happens, I've already been following the work of this gentleman, and he's doing some really, really exquisite stuff out of steel and titanium. So of course, when he asked me if I want to test some of his products, then immediately I said yes. And they can be found on this very bike. So the first and possibly the most noticeable thing is this cassette. Now let me just get a better angle for you. So this is his 12-speed steel cassette that shaves a fair chunk of weight, I believe around 30 to 40 grams, even compared to a Shimano Dura-Ace cassette, while not being significantly more expensive. That's also important. Possibly a lot more durable because it's all steel except the last cog. Uses hollow kind of construction, very similar to the old SRAM Red 22 X-Dome style, which I really like. It looks beautiful. But again, it's an aftermarket product on, well, barely, but still Shimano drivetrain. And yeah, shifting in this case doesn't really work. But this, I have to say, is a great exception, because of course it requires some tuning, but when you do that, again, the cassette just shifts flawlessly with the Shimano chain, and particularly with this KMC chain, it really just absolutely works. And it does that in complete range regarding the load. So yeah, it's brilliant. It's super light, looks very good. Probably very durable because of the steel used, and yeah. So chapeau to this man for solving the issue of shifting on aftermarket cassettes. It really, I honestly didn't expect that, and I'm really stoked, and I'll be probably getting some more sets for my road bike, because it's a decent weight saving for no real penalty there. So, and for the extreme weight weenieists among you, there's also a version of this cassette which is called the half tie, and well, it's quite literal because the upper half of it is made of solid titanium, and that one's even lighter. Although I imagine that one will not be as durable, but for a race only or kind of a weight weenie project build, that would be excellent. For me though, I do train quite a lot, and I need these things to be durable as well. I don't care about those last few grams. Also, the titanium ones, unsurprisingly, are really expensive compared to this one. But yeah, excellent product. Didn't expect that at all. Then some other real delicacies here. So you have the TI Master derailleur hanger for the Colnago, machined out of solid titanium, and done so with an obsessive attention to detail, as you can see. I'm no weight weenie, I haven't really checked the weight savings, but any of my bikes have to have, or all of my bikes have to have, a direct mount derailleur hanger. It's just a rule, and this one is the nicest of them all. That's, yeah, I just, I don't really care about the weight, but I do like a piece of nice machining, and this definitely is it. So yeah, and then of course I can't miss the rear derailleur bolt itself, which is again another TI Master part, and the level of machining on there, it's just insane. Really beautiful parts, extremely lightweight, and there's basically no material there left at all, barely anything, weighs almost nothing, and it's just as stiff as the original one. So yeah, really obsessive parts. Definitely a big thumbs up from me. And there's one more actually, which I forgot about earlier, but now it's maybe more fitting. And that's this one. This is the 6-wheel titanium front flat mount. Can't really see much of it because of the caliper, but again, this has been also pared down to the absolute minimum. So yeah, a lot of neat stuff on this bike, I have to say. Quite happy about it, to be honest. Also has the performance to match, and given the amount of training and preparation that I've done, even the power is pretty decent, so happy days, I guess. There are two more changes I have originally planned in the drivetrain department, and that's a switch to a power to max power meter with the workshop adapter for the open source kind of power to max power meter, but I didn't get the adapter in time, and for that I had ordered right sync chainring in the 64 tooth. As I've mentioned earlier, probably we'll be now also stocking right sync products, chainrings, aero bars, everything like that. Actually, we have a few things already on the website, so be sure to check that out. But anyway, I haven't installed that because I've ordered the one with the full 4x110 circular cutout, and since this is a Quark D4, I would have to get added with the Dremel, just like I did with this carbon TI ring. And honestly, the chaining was just too nice to touch, so I'll wait just those few more weeks until I can make that switch properly. And also it's just really too close to the Nationals to be messing around with this stuff, so it's staying like this for now. So yeah, well, that's been a lot of parts to talk through. Kudos to you if you're still listening, and I hope you have found this in some way useful or informational. And of course I'll be bringing you more about this bike and the road bike, and well, if I have time, of course, then all the other things that we do here. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.